What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Shield Outdoors. We're out here at the property that we purchased that's right next to 50,000 acres of wildlife refuge. This place was a mess. It was a Christmas tree farm like in the 80s. It was timbered in the 90s, and for the last 20 years, it's been growing briars 20 feet tall. The briars were so tall, they were going up, going back down, and wrapping back up. So what we are doing is we're gonna tear the fire out of it, and then we're gonna make a food plot that the deer are not supposed to eat. That's right, I don't want the deer to eat this stuff. And matter of fact, they probably won't. So stay tuned, we're gonna tell you what our plans are here, why we're doing a food plot like that, and where we're gonna hope to end up by fall. Spring food plots, deer preparation, habitat management. Let's get into it. We have very limited access to this property, including limited access even with heavy equipment, especially with heavy equipment, I guess you could say. So we knew we were gonna have issues tilling the ground. We do have very good soil here. And as you can see, with the old Christmas tree aspect, there's a lot of cedar, both dead that's already rotting in the ground, and also with what he's cutting up. So that'll be great for the soil eventually. But I really don't see us having the opportunity to till out here. The roots are bad, the logs are bad. Having said all that, I'm talking about, I don't want to just bring a bulldozer out here and bulldoze the ground. Now what I am excited about is natural browse. So don't underestimate what your property could naturally grow. There's all kinds of natural browse. If you look out this way, you can see like light patches of green coming up. None of that stuff was there when this was all briars. The briars were smothering it out. Look over this way, Joe. So obviously we can't get all the briars out, right? We can't get every little piece out. There's still gonna be some rabbit habitat. There's still gonna be some briars for the deer to bed against. There's still gonna be stuff for animals to eat on. It's not like we're clearing this place out. This isn't gonna be a perfect golf course. But what we wanna do is set ourselves up for the fall when we are ready to throw some clover. And because we're not tearing up the ground, we're gonna need to give ourselves some kind of a platform for that clover to grow efficiently. And the answer to that is buckwheat. We are gonna throw some buckwheat out here. And yes, we are just kinda gonna spread it. We're gonna spread it on top of the ground. Our guy that's here right now doing the bush hogging is using a skid steer. He has tore up the surface pretty well. I mean, you can look over here. It's pretty dusty where he's tore this stuff up. This was prior day's work. Everything's kind of wet now because it rained. But what we plan to do is just spread the buckwheat. We're just gonna use like a push spreader. And we want the buckwheat to somewhat smother out the weeds and smother out the briars, okay? It's a smother crop, cover crop. And then what we will do in the fall is we will spray all that buckwheat, let it die, and then the clover will pop up through that. We'll spread clover seed, we'll spray, we'll knock all the buckwheat down, and as the buckwheat dies and withers, it'll literally be feeding and shading the clover, okay? Whew, the bugs are getting crazy out here, Joe. So, the whole thing behind this is, I don't want to disrupt the soil if we can help it. Obviously, we're tearing it up a little bit by bush hogging. I get that. We got to do the best we can to feed our deer. The other thing is, remember I said this place was timbered? There's hardly any acorn trees. There is not a lot of protein here. There's not a lot to attract a deer here once it gets cold and everything starts dying. Feed the deer, right? Supplement the deer's diet. Now, we can't give them everything they're gonna eat. You just gotta come to grips with that. You can't give them every single meal, every single day, all the time, year round. But we can supplement them and we can provide them food that they may not be able to find, you know, within 2, 3, 4, 500 yards of here. So that's the goal. We're gonna get some buckwheat down. Hopefully that buckwheat takes. Hopefully it suppresses some of the briars and some of the weeds that are gonna pop up. And then we will utilize that same buckwheat to do a no-till plot in the fall. We are gonna do multiple rounds of this buckwheat. It is only April 2nd today, so we're gonna spread about 1 acre's worth of buckwheat, 40 pounds, 40 pounds 1 acre. That's what they recommend. And then we're probably gonna come out in like 2 or 3 weeks, maybe even have to wait till after turkey season, and we're gonna lay another layer of buckwheat. And then that way we have 2 different layers, and if we have any dead spots or empty spots, hopefully those will fill in. Let's spread some of this out. What we're trying to do right now is Joey is gonna spread some of this red clover, okay? It's just a straight red clover. It's kind of a tiny little spreader, but it's all we had. So yes, you will see some greenery on the ground already. This was Rackology Sanctuary last year, and a lot of this stuff is trying to pop back through. So what we're doing right now is we are literally just spreading some random clover on some random ground, and yes, we will probably have to spray this to clean it up, but he's gonna come over here with the bush hog and he's gonna tear all this stuff up behind us. See how nasty that is? I mean, it is thick. You can see this straight trail that we did, and you can see how thick it is on each side of it. So my thinking is he's gonna tear this ground up a little bit. Why not put some seed down, and then probably in the next week or two we'll have to come down and we'll have to actually use some herbicide that will not kill clover, and it will kill some of this grass. The Rackology Sanctuary actually has a little bit of red clover and I think white clover in it. So there is still some clover popping through here, which is good. That means that it stuck around and some of it grew. Actually, there's quite a bit of clover. So that's what we're working with right now. Clover is a very, very, very tiny seed. It will take hold in just about any tiny little crevice you can get. You don't have to plant it super deep. And yes, we're not gonna have a huge germination rate when we're just spreading it on top of the ground, but you'd be surprised. All the dead leaves, all the old squirrel holes, all this all these sticks and stuff, the clover will get below there and still take hold. But this is what we don't want. Look at this stupid briar. We bush hogged all this about 8 months ago, and some of these little briars are trying to come back. And we don't mind some briars, but we don't want this whole place being like out there. See how that is out there? It's no good. Now, what we can do is we can still plant random screen, and we could do more Rackology Sanctuary, or we could do like a switchgrass type thing, or Egyptian wheatgrass, which is primarily what's in the Rackology Sanctuary. We could make like a straight row of that and create some additional bedding in here, but it is so thick around the edges of this property, I don't think it's gonna be an issue. There's about a 25-acre lake right there, 50,000 acre wildlife refuge, and about 500 acres of crop fields on that side of us, and then the highway up here. So, I mean, we have everything. We got water, we got crops, we got safety. So, the deer should be here.
It's going a lot farther than I thought it would.
I see that. You want to take it out that path, maybe? How much you got left?
I think I'll take it over here where I'll just find some bare spots over here.
I think we'll be surprised how much it takes. The other reason we want to get some clover in now is turkeys love clover. Our turkey season doesn't start for another month, so if we can get some clover in the ground, maybe the turkeys will come eat on it. All right, guys, it's as simple as that. We're not looking for perfect germination. We're not looking for perfect farming techniques. We are not agricultural experts, but this is where we bush hogged last year. And look at all that nice greenery. Bugs are gonna get in this, turkeys are gonna get in this, deer are gonna be up in here, and yet we still have plenty of this thick stuff. If you look out this way, it's like a very, very dense, like a timber kind of thing. So we have some crops out here. It's not an exact science for us. For some people it might be. We're just average dudes. We don't have a lot of equipment. We don't have a lot of access, but we wanted to provide the deer some variety. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any criticisms, even if they're very, very harsh, go ahead and drop a comment below. If you like what we're doing and you're interested to see how well it goes for us, let us know in the comments. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. Peace.